Well, hey everyone, my name is Nathan Jones, and if you're new here, welcome. I like to talk about all things movies, specifically Blu-rays, but today we're also going to be talking about music. So I'm actually going to revive an old series of mine, but I'm going to rebrand it. So if you are familiar with the old Weekend Six Pack, which was years and years ago, it used to be a segment on my channel where I would review 6 films over the weekend of what I watched, and I would talk about the films themselves, and then I'd also just talk about whether or not I'd recommend them. And obviously, lately I've been doing a Q series, which is my recommendation series that has become thus, since that iteration has come to pass. So I'm going to revamp this whole Weekend Six Pack with a bit of music and movies. And so I know a lot of you responded very well to recently when I talked a little bit about some music recommendations. And so I actually think I'm going to interweave this with some movie recommendations. And so I'm going to bring this segment back. I'm actually kind of curious, down in the comment section down below, how often would you want to see a video like this where I'm doing some kind of Weekend Six Pack? I think that I would like to do this maybe once every 2 weeks, so maybe twice a month if I could, and then I would talk just about some of the albums I've been listening to, and then 3 movies that I've been watching as well over the weekend. And so that's exactly what I'll be doing today. I'll be talking about 3 films, and I'll also be talking about 3 albums that I've listened to over this weekend that I'll be putting this out. And so these will be recommendations for you. If you want to check them out, you can listen to the music on Spotify or wherever you listen to music. And also buy the CDs or on vinyl, which I think the vinyl, they're all backed up really, really bad right now, but you can listen to those. Then also you can check out these films where I'll talk about where I purchased them in the video later on when I talk about each movie. So yeah, I'm definitely curious to know what you think of this segment, and yeah, tell me your thoughts down in the comment section down below. So let's actually jump straight into my first film. All right, so the first film I'll be talking about is a classic from my childhood. It came out in 1971. It's starring Gene Wilder, talking about Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So now I have the 4K right here. This is the 4K Ultra HD edition. It's a little shiny, so I'll just take the slipcover off and talk about this. This is the 50th anniversary edition right here of the, let's see, Mel Stewart direction of Roald Dahl, who I can never say his name correctly, the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory book that this is based on. Now, this is a really fantastic story, and if you aren't aware of this movie, I hope you are, because this is a classic that I feel like every child probably watched since the 70s. But it is one of those classics that has been revitalized on 4K, and it looks wonderful. And I actually was recommended this by my friend Chris. He actually talked about there's an edition out there of the 4K that is like wrapped in a Wonka bar golden ticket, which is really, really cool. I really wanted that, but I decided to go with the standard route, and this is actually on sale, I believe, still hopefully on Amazon, and that's where I got it. And I definitely, this is one of those upgrades that I'm super happy that I did, because like I said, it is a very colorful production. You can see the 4K scan really, really well, and everything kind of pops because Gene Wilder in Willy Wonka, as he's Willy Wonka, like his whole factory is just something that is just wonderful. And also even that most terrifying scene that I had as a kid in the tunnel still scares me, and even scares me even more because I can see things more clearly. I'm not going to really talk much about the plot of the film. It's about 5 children going to Willy Wonka's factory, and with the lifetime supply of chocolate as a reward, and you'll just have to see how that unfolds. But yeah, if you haven't seen this one, I mean, come on. It's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I highly recommend getting the 4K if you don't have this edition. This is definitely the one to get, and I'm super happy that I did. And it was nice to revisit a childhood classic. All right, so now we're going to mix it up a little bit. I'm going to talk about my first album that I'll be covering, and this one came out on August 27th, so this last Friday. This is from an Irish three-piece right here, an electronic pop band, if you will, Churches, with a V for the U. So Churches, if you haven't heard them, they're a band that I haven't really listened to much since 2013 to 2014 or 15. Their first few albums. Their first album, The Bones of What You Believe, from 2013, is actually really, really great. And it was one of those albums that really kind of changed my mind on this kind of sound, this electronic pop sound that I wasn't super familiar with, nor was I super comfortable with it. However, I feel like this new album, Screen Violence, which I'll show you right here, and it's really, really a return to form. And I really, really like it. And it even has Robert Smith who covers and one of the songs, "How Not to Drown," which was the leading single for me off this record. And this one hooked me immediately. But other than that, there are a lot of standout tracks. California is one, and so is Good Girls. And yeah, if you are not super into this type of sound, I can totally understand that. However, Churches, I think they are coming back to a band that is something that I want over the summer, something I want to listen to on a car ride and just kind of driving to a destination. So if you haven't heard Churches' new album, I would definitely pick up Screen Violence in some kind of form, or just listen to it on Spotify and give them a listen, because they're really, really fantastic. All right, so jumping back to a film, we're going to talk about a 1945 film that is a recent release from Warner Archive, starring Boris Karloff. This is Isle of the Dead. And this is from the Archive collection, right? Like I said, from Warner Archive. From 1945, this is from RKO Pictures. This has directed by Mark Robeson. It's also starring Ellen Drew and Mark Kramer. And it is produced by Val Lewton, cat people. Really great production there. But Isle of the Dead is really fantastic. It is a story of General Boris Karloff. His name is General Ferrades. He is actually in the middle of a war. And he's going off to this island to pay respects to his departed wife. He heard there were stories of like vandalism, something going on with grave robbery, so he goes to this island to kind of check this out. And meanwhile, on that island, which by the way, the island, it looks a lot like that painting from this. I'm forgetting his name, but from this artist right here. But Rachmaninoff, who is a composer, did a score, a long, nice piece called Isle of the Dead, that is really, really fantastic. If you haven't heard that, you should, if you like classical music. But in this film itself, that's the location, that's the destination. You can see it in the background. It's kind of blurry, obviously, because it's a painting. But I think it's really interesting that is the setting for this place. And it is a mystical island filled with some crazy stuff that's going on. It really feeds on the fears of the people who are there, and the island does not let go. The last act of this movie is the one that really drew me in. The shadow play, the suspense of like what's in like the crypts and what is playing in the shadows, what's going on, is the thing that really, really drew me into this one. And this is a really sharp 72 minutes long film. It's these 40s Universal RKO pictures with these horror legends that I really, really like, and super digestible. It's like a midnight movie. I certainly say check this one out. It's from Warner Archive. I picked this one up on Amazon. That's where their shop is now. But yeah, this is certainly one of the better releases from Warner Archive, at least in my eyes, from this year. And I highly recommend Isle of the Dead if you haven't seen it. Let me know in the comment section down below if you've checked it out. All right, so the next album that I'll be talking about is a first for me, because this is an album I have never heard of the artist Alejandro Aranda, who actually is the lead singer of Scary Pool Party, which is this album is called The Act of Forgiveness. And this album is a whopping like an hour and 45 minutes. It's a long one. However, it is an album that is certainly worth your time. And if you like pop, let me explain the differences between this type of music. So this album reminds me of a few different things. So it reminds me of some R&B and pop that's modern here. It's got some folk elements into it, and it also even puts in Nine Inch Nails and My Bloody Valentine vibes to it, because it is a little bit all over the place, but it's done so beautifully. And honestly, you can listen to a lot of these singles kind of as their own thing, and there's a lot of creativity and a lot of breadth for this from Alejandro's voice, and just the immaculate production that is behind this album is really, really dense, and I really quite enjoy it. But there's a few tracks that stand out to me. Beautiful is one, Beach House, which has a really great music video attached to it, and then Spell Out River. That's the more Nine Inch Nails sound that you'll get. So it kind of just runs the gamut on these different genres. You would have to take a listen and see if you like this kind of music. And now, like I said, it's a mixed bag. Some of the tracks that I really like differ from other track to track. And yeah, it's definitely one that took me a bit to get into, but I think because I went through this journey, this hour and a 45-minute journey, I highly recommend Scary Pool Party. I almost said the name wrong. I recommend The Act of Forgiveness. So check this one out. All right, so the last film I'll be talking about is in the Criterion Collection. This is Spine number 653. I actually picked this up on Amazon because it was cheaper, and it is directed by, hopefully I can say this Japanese director's name correct, Tinosuke Kinugasa. Tinosuke Kinugasa, hopefully. Gate of Hell, right here, which has got a really great cover right here, and I love the green and orange kind of background. The orange background is really, really colorful. This is from 1953, like I said, and it is actually one of the first color productions coming out of Japan. And it is really, really stunning. You can see Eastman Color did the coloring of this film, and it just pops. This movie is just gorgeous, and I love this restoration right here. But it is from a 2011 2K restoration, so this is actually one of those earlier. This came out in 2013 from Criterion, but is one that I hadn't really known much about, and so I definitely wanted to talk about it a little bit. It's really about a lord that falls in love with somebody, or like obsesses over somebody, and this unrequited love that does not come back to him. It's really this tale of like you're lusting after somebody so bad that it just ruins every aspect of your character, and all the people around you start to wonder if you're going to go mad. So they're really our main character is not a hero. He is definitely the antagonist, and somebody who is just not so good. The characters that you will like is Wataru Watanabe, who is the husband of Lady Kisa, who is our main focus, who is Morito is just really, really focused on, and Morito is our main character, who's not really likable whatsoever. Like I said, he has this insane obsession with Lady Kisa, and Watanabe is just trying to figure out, like, hey, I'm just trying to be a good husband here, and then you see that through this film, and it's really set in this really fantastic and colorful landscape of feudal Japan, I believe, in either the 11th or 12th century, and it's really, really fantastic. I very much recommend it. It's actually only 89 minutes long, so it's a short one, and definitely the runtime feels like it goes by quickly, at least in my eyes. But yeah, Gate of Hell. I got it on Amazon for a cheaper price. If you can, check this one out, because it's certainly worth your time. And the last album that I'll be talking about is from a punk hardcore band that I was introduced back in 2018 from their album Time and Space. I'm talking about Turnstyle, and I'm talking about Glow On. And now Glow On is just one of those albums that is perfect for the summer right now. It's the end of the summer, although I wish I got it a little bit earlier. Now they did release some singles, but this totally feels like a summer album. It is so much fun. It is smooth, it's very breezy, and it has a lot of those elements to it, but it's almost like a sing-along album because it's a punk hardcore outfit, but it is so digestible. If you are not into that type of music, I think you should check this album out, and I think you would enjoy it. It's just a fun one, and it's certainly worth your time. The whole album is a standout, but I'll list some tracks that I really like. I really like Blackout, which is the second track on this album. Holiday, which is just one that I just can't stop singing. And then Fly Again, which is like probably the perfect song on this disc for me. So Turnstyle, check out Glow On. It's certainly worth your time. I'd say check out all those albums I mentioned. They are all on Spotify. They all came out on Friday, August 27th. Really fantastic works. And then also check out those movies if you are curious. Check out Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory on 4K. Make sure to check out Isle of the Dead from Warner Archive, and then also Gate of Hell from Criterion. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think of this type of format. I'm definitely curious to hear your thoughts down in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a like, comment down below, share, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you next time. I'm not jonesing around.